In this video, I am going to explain the radio block design in Vivado. So this design is a part of the official Xilinx design. That design had a lot of other components also, but this one is only the radio hierarchy and the other necessary system resets and clocking wizard. And there are some ILAs also for debugging. So the first step is to import our custom IPs into this design. So that we can do by going to settings, IP and repository. So when we go here, we can add our custom design. So I have already added some repositories here. So you can navigate to wherever the design has been exported, wherever the HLS design has been exported. And then you can select these and import them. Right. Then you can select these and click on OK. Then these IPs will be imported in the design. Now we want to add the blocks of our IPs to the block design. So we can do that by clicking on the plus sign here, and then we have to search the name of the IP, which is going to be the name of the top function that we had specified in our HLS code. So for amplitude controller it is AC. Click on AC. And then press enter. So here, this is how we can import this IP. Same thing for packet generator. Then click on the plus sign, and the name of for packet generator was pgen. So we can search for pgen and then press enter. So this is how we can import our custom IPs into the design. So now the first and the most important part of the design is the PS. First we'll go to the clock configuration tab, and we have to configure the output clocks of our PS. We'll go to low power domain clocks and PL fabric clocks. So we're going to use our PS to generate two clocks. One is going to be of 100 megahertz and the other is going to be of 300 megahertz, and make sure the source is IOPLL. And then we can see the actual frequency that is being produced. The next thing we have to configure are the PSPL ports interfaces. So for master interface, we're going to check the box on one AXI HPM FPD port. So this is a master port, so it is going to be used to send out the signals from the PS to configure our IPs. Like DMA and packet generator, amplitude controller, all of them will be configured using this port. Then we have slave interfaces. We're going to use an HP port. This is going to be used to take input from the IPs. In our case, we'll use this to take input from the DMAs, which are connected to the packet generator. So like our output data will be collected using this port. Then we can click on OK. So the next thing that we need to look at is the clock wizard IP. We use this IP to generate a clock of 310 megahertz. Right, so we generate one clock using this, which is of 310 megahertz, and this clock is used to operate our DMAs, which are connected to packet generators. This IP takes as input the 300 megahertz clock. So we can see that the clock in goes to PL clock 1, which is 300 megahertz. We can also click on this pin to see that its frequency is 300 megahertz. So it takes as input 300 megahertz and produces a clock of 310 megahertz. Next we look at the radio hierarchy. So the radio hierarchy consists of the RFDC IP, the transmitter hierarchy and the receiver hierarchy. So RFDC is the RF data converter IP. So in our design, what we aim to do is to use two DAC channels and two ADC channels for a data transfer. Right, so those channels are connected using SMA connectors on the board. So when we look at the settings of this IP, we can see that we actually have 8 ADC blocks and 8 DAC blocks. But on the RFSoC 4x2 board, we only have 2 DACs and 4 ADCs. So we're only going to enable those. We're going to enable 2 DACs and 4 ADCs, but we're only going to use 2 DACs and 2 ADCs in our project. So here in ADC, we're going to enable tile 2 to 4 ADC 0 and 1 and tile 2 to 6 ADC 0 and 1. And the settings for all of them are the same. So we have a decimation of 2 and we can see that the samples per AXI 4 stream cycle are 8. The required clock is 307.2 and these are the mixer settings. And in the DAC we can see that tile 2 to 8 DAC 0 is enabled and tile 230 DAC 0 is enabled. So 2 DACs and 4 ADCs. So here we can see that the samples per AXI 4 stream cycle are 16, interpolation is 2 and the required clock is 307.2 MHz. So when we send data through the DAC, we send complex data and we saw in our amplitude controller IP that it takes a 32-bit value and replicates it 8 times. So the actual gain value that we're going to use to configure the amplitude controller IP is actually 16 bits. In the driver, we're going to replicate it twice to form a 32-bit value, and then the IP is going to replicate it 8 more times to form a 256-bit value. So basically, we are taking a 16-bit value and replicating it 16 times to send it to the RFDC IP. So we're actually sending it 16 samples in every clock cycle. And those 16 samples are of complex data. When we receive the output of the RFDC IP, we actually receive real and imaginary samples separately. So that is why we have 8 samples per cycle because the real and imaginary get separated. In our Python code for the packet generator driver, we're going to see that we receive an output of 128 bits and we consider 16 bits as one sample. So we actually receive 8 samples per clock cycle on the output. And in the input we give 16 samples, so that is 256 bits, and on the output we get 128 bits real and 128 bits imaginary. Next we'll go to system clocking. Here we can see that the RFDC IP operates on the 100 MHz clock which is generated by the PS. Our sampling rate is 4.9152 GHz or giga samples per second. Our reference clock is 491.52 MHz and our fabric clock is 307.2. This is the clock that is required by the DACs and the ADCs to generate the signals. So this IP is central to this design and it is going to handle the actual data transfer between the DAC and ADC on the board. Next we're going to look at the transmitter hierarchy. So here we can see that the transmitter has 2 channels. In the RFSoC 4x2 board we have 2 DACs and 4 ADCs. So for each DAC we have 1 transmitter channel. And each channel only has the amplitude controller IP. So this IP as input takes a 32-bit value and generates a 256-bit output. The other channel is also the same, exactly the same channel. Next we'll look at the receiver hierarchy. So this hierarchy has 4 channels, and that is because we have 4 ADCs, so 1 channel per ADC. So in our project, even though we have 4 channels, we're only going to use 2 channels, which are channel 20 and channel 21. All of these channels are exactly the same. So here this is a little more complicated than the transmitter channels. So first of all, we have the packet generator, which has a configuration port. So this port is used to configure the packet generator for some number of packets to pass the value of packet size. In our first notebook, we are going to transmit 256 packets. So to configure that value, we use this port. Then we have the real and imaginary stream input, which comes from the RFDC IP, and we have the real and imaginary output. So this is exactly the same values along with the last signal which is going to be generated. So here we can see that we have a T last signal. So now the next thing we need to do is we need to send this data to a DMA in order to store it in the memory. Right, so the DMA is going to send the data back to the PS and the PS will store it. So the packet generator cannot be directly connected to the DMA because the DMA operates on 310 MHz clock while packet generator operates on 307.2 MHz clock. So we're going to also put a clock converter in between the packet generator and the DMA. Right, so the packet generator, the real output goes to the clock converter, and the clock converter goes to the DMA, and then the DMA goes out to the HP port of the PS. Same thing for imaginary clock converter and DMA, and then the DMA goes back to the PS. So we have put an interconnect in between because we only have one HP port, but 2 inputs to it. So both of them are connected through an interconnect, and this goes to the HP port. So that's it. That is the design. We have also added a lot of ILAs to this design, which are integrated logic analyzers. And these ILAs are used for debugging. So if we connect an ILA probe to a signal, we can see its waveform in Vivado, and that is very useful to help us debug that what problem is coming and why it is not working. So especially in a design like this, when there are so many clocks and so many signals and so much data transfer happening, it is recommended and it is very useful to put ILAs on every important transaction. So like afterwards, when we're going to generate the bitstream of our design, we'll see a .ltx file which will be generated, and that is the debug probes file for ILAs. So when we want to see the signals on Vivado, we're going to load the bitstream file, the LTX file, and then we'll be able to see those waveforms. After the design is done, the next step is to validate the design. Once our design is validated, we can go to the sources tab and we can generate an HDL wrapper for our designs. That is, right click and create HDL wrapper. So once this is done, either we can run the synthesis implementation and bitstream one by one, or we can just click on generate bitstream and it is going to go through all the steps on its own. Like it will generate output products and then it will synthesize the design implementation and bitstream. Everything will happen at once. So we can just generate the bitstream. We can select the number of jobs we want. So this is the number of cores we want to assign to this to the bitstream generation, and it is recommended to uh, select a high number because this design takes some time, takes a significant amount of time to get generated. It can take anywhere between 15 minutes and 45 minutes to get generated. So this is a fairly heavy design. And then it will generate the bitstream. But you might have to wait a little, like this is going to be a while. So once our bitstream generation is complete, we want three files: the bitstream file, the hardware handoff file, and the LTX file. So for that, we're going to go to our file system, wherever this project is, and then we're going to go to the runs, project.runs folder. We'll go to implementation, and here we can find the bitstream and LTX file. So we're going to copy them, and we can make another folder called RFSOC, and here we can save multiple versions of the bitstream and the hardware handoff file and the LTX file. So we're going to paste our files here. Then we can go to .gen folder, sources, BD, and here we can find our hardware handoff file. So we're going to copy it, we'll paste it back in that folder. Now we have to make sure that the names of our bitstream, hardware handoff and LTX file have to be the same. So we can rename them to something. So now we have these files. So in the next video, I'm going to show you how to upload them to the RFSoC 4x2 board and then how to use them to run the Jupyter notebooks.